Hey everybody, it's me again. Wednesday the 13th of June, less than a month away from the departure date. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today and get across was I'm doing this because I want to illustrate to my children and to myself and to anybody else out there that people are generally good, and have some stories to talk about that as I meet strangers and so forth. But I don't want to come across as though my life has been filled with, mean, miserable ogres. I've had a lot of good people in my life that have been good to myself and my family, a lot of people I've learned from. And I wanted to take the time while I've got folks here today to recognize as I go, maybe not every day, but from here and there, to recognize people that have been mentors or role models, great people in my life, and thank them for their time. Some of these folks I've had the opportunity to do that with. I try to communicate with folks. I don't mind telling people I love them and tell them I appreciate what they do. Some folks I haven't had the opportunity to or never just got around to doing it, and this would be, I think, a nice gesture on my part to at least let them know that. At the same time, I try to teach a lesson through these things to maybe just one person out there. I don't know who I reach. Um, Ideally, when I do it, I usually think that I'm talking to my children, that years from now, they'll be able to look back on this and learn from things, good and bad, because clearly I'm far from perfect, um, and so forth. So, the lesson I kind of want to teach today, and hopefully we all understand this, I have to grab a hold of this sometimes myself, is to remember that we are always an example to somebody. Um, like I said, I wish there were things that my kids didn't see me do or behave in a certain way. I also there's a lot of positives, but sometimes we get into our moment and we forget that people are watching us, and people are learning from us, and I think that's really important, and that's the message I'd like to get across today. But I wanted to talk about most of you that have started to follow my journey know a little bit about my childhood. Wasn't the worst thing in the world, but there was definitely some dysfunction in it and some tragedy in it and things like that. And there was a family. My best friend growing up was Stephen Mock, and his mom and dad. I'll call him Mr. and Mrs. Mock, but you may know them as Al or Nikki. Um, were almost like a second family to me. Just amazing people. And if I tear up, I apologize, but um, I can tell you on the summer days I would wake up and I'd call Stephen by 9 o'clock in the morning, and inevitably we were always at his house. It was just a safer, warmer, nicer place to be. In my mind, I felt just liked being there. And from 9 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, I mean, they welcomed me like family. They treated me like I was their son. During the school year, when my mom had it tough, she dropped me off, and Mrs. Mock would watch me. I'd come home from school. I always had a ham sandwich waiting for me and a glass of chocolate milk. I can remember the Saturday morning breakfasts that she'd make with the bacon and eggs and the chocolate milkshakes while, Steve and I got up and played Nerf basketball and things like that. Um, just amazing people. And I was lucky enough in my early 20s to have the opportunity to write Mrs. Mock a note and tell her how much she meant to me and things like that. But just amazing people. Mr. Mock is to this day the one man that I try to emulate as a man. He is an amazing father. He was a terrific husband. He showed me how to, be a father first and a friend second, but still love unconditionally. I know he loves me unconditionally. Damn, I was gonna do this. Anyway, so Al, if you're out there, thank you so much, man, because anything I know about being a dad, I learned from you. It's that simple. Um, I'm going to attach some pictures to the Facebook page. Some are of Al now, some are him with his beautiful grandkids, some are of him and his beautiful wife in the younger days. A few years ago, one of the most special moments for me, a few years ago, Mrs. Mock passed away suddenly, and I got up to spend the time with the family, but she was like my second mother. And sorry guys. One of the nicest moments for me was Steven has kind of what I guess I call a movie room with these kind of movie seats, and it's kind of a neat little rec room that he has. And that night, Mr. Mock slept in kind of a reclining movie seat, and I kind of slipped down on the floor by his feet a little bit, and I just felt I wanted to be by him. He had a lot going on. I'm sure his kids were there too, but they had a lot going on with their mom, grandmom, things like that. A beautiful woman, and you'll see that in the pictures. And was kind of, look, don't get me wrong, it wasn't hard to fall asleep on the floor that night. I was kind of self-medicating with alcohol. I was in a lot of pain. Luckily, Stephen's oldest daughter, Lauren, and her boyfriend turned me on to something called rum chata, I think, that night, and Fireball or something, and wow. So it wasn't difficult at all to fall asleep on the floor, but it just meant a lot for me to kind of sleep by Al and let him know I was there. We had some nice one-on-one discussion about my family, about his family, and I'll never forget that. So thank you, Al, Nikki, Stephen. Enjoy the pictures, guys. If you can, though, I really want this to be something special, and I'm sorry if I'm kind of tearing up here, but his name's Al Mock. He's on Facebook. Sometimes we forget to tell the great people how great they are until it's too late. So if you know me at all, if you care, I'm sure he won't mind. Look him up, thank him on my behalf. Just thank him for being who he is, and you know, we'll go from there. So, like I said, that's not to overlook Nikki, Stephen, and the whole family in any way. The kids are great. And again, I wouldn't know what Fireball and Rum Shot is if Lauren wasn't there with her boyfriend that night, telling Uncle Jimmy what that stuff was. So, anyway, I'm just trying to acknowledge and appreciate and thank the folks that it meant something to me. And you're just not gonna find a better man than Al. So, thanks, guys. Have a great day.